Okay, so we have our home page and blog page, and now we're going to start to take care of the single pages. So we're going to start with the posts. Okay, so if we click read more, it brings us to a page like this, which you could keep the style with the animation, but I'd rather have just a standard single post layout. So what we're going to do is create a new file, and let's save that as single.php. And let's go ahead and bring in the header and the footer. Okay, and then we're going to have our while loop. Okay, and then we're going to have our title bar, so we can grab that from index. Alright, now instead of just having the word blog as our title, since we put this inside the while loop, we can use the the title as our H1. So we can say PHP the title. Okay, take a look, and you can see now we have the actual post title as our title. So now what we'll do is let's go under this section, under the title bar, and we'll create a section, give it a class. Actually, you know what we'll do is just get it from the HTML that we created. So in clean cut HTML, I'm going to go to single.html, and let's grab from here down to here, so that section. Okay, we're going to paste that right here, and then we're just going to kind of trade the static content for dynamic content. Okay, so we have our thumbnail. Let's get rid of this and put in PHP, the post thumbnail. And for our meta content here, let's replace the date with PHP the time. And we'll format that. And then we're going to replace the username here with the author, along with the link around it that goes to get author post URL, and we pass in get the author meta as a parameter along with the ID. Now this here will be replaced by the content, so let's get rid of that. And then the sidebar stuff, we'll keep that like it is for now. So let's save that, make sure it works. Okay. So that looks good, aside from not having the comments yet and the static sidebar, but this part here is intact. So what we want to do now is the archive. So if we were to, let's say, click on the user, it'll bring us to the user's post, but I want to edit the title. So let's create a new file, and we're going to save it as archive.php, and I'm going to copy everything that's in the index file. Okay, and then we're just going to go up to where we have the H1, and we're going to paste in the same code we've been using for the archive title. Okay, we're just checking to see, for instance, if it's a category. If it is, we're going to use the single cat title function, and so on. So let's save that, reload, and now we have the correct type of title. If I click on a category, we get the category name. Now I think that while we're at it, we should do the comments. Okay, so if we go to a single post, we want to be able to show a comments area. So let's go to single.php, go down to, let's see, we want to go right below the content, and let's say PHP comments template. Save, go back and reload, and now we do have comment functionality. Let's just post something in here. Okay, so that works. Now it doesn't look too good, so we'll style it a little bit. Before we can style it though, we're going to create a custom layout for our comments. So we're going to create a new file, and we're going to save it as comments.php. And I'm just going to use the standard code we've been using. Okay, we have a div with a class of comments, we have a heading, and then we're setting a bunch of arguments. This is actually from the documentation, and then we're just going to punch it into WP list comments. Then we have our arguments for the form, and then we're going to punch that into comment form. So we'll save that, reload. Okay, looks a little different, but still not very good. So we're going to just add some style. Let's go to our style sheet, go down to the bottom, and we're going to paste this in. Okay, so I'll go over it. We have our comments class, we have a border, padding, and margin. The H3 has a background of light gray. Body, we have a border around the body, padding. The meta has a background of dark gray. Let's see, the meta image is going to float to the left. We have the time, we're just going to put a little margin to the left of the time to push it over. And then the reply link will have a dark gray background. And then we have the input and text area, which will have 100% width and some border and margin. So let's save that, see what it looks like. Okay, that looks a lot better. So we now have comments. Now let's take care of the sidebar. So let's go into functions.php, and we're going to go down here. We'll say widget locations. Okay, so we'll have a function called init_widgets. That's going to take in an ID. Okay, then we want to register sidebar, pass in an array, name will be sidebar, ID will be also sidebar, all lowercase, and then we're going to do before widget, okay, we'll do that. We'll do after widget, then we're going to do before title, and of course after title. Okay, so before widget, let's take a look at the code. So let's go to single PHP, and if we look here, let's see, oh, we don't have the animation, do we? Okay, so I want to be able to add some animation here, so let's actually just leave that for right this second, and we're going to go before widget, and we'll have a div. Let's give it a class of well, also animated, fade in right, and also sidebar widget. Alright, and then after widget, of course, we need to close that div. And then before title, let's do an H3. Close that H3 and save. So now back to single.php, we can actually get rid of this whole thing, and we'll replace it with our dynamic sidebar. Okay, we'll save that. Now we also want it, actually I think that's the only place we want it so far. So if we reload, obviously that's gone. Let's go ahead and add a sidebar widget. Oh, I didn't add the action, did I? Okay, so in functions.php, we're just going to do add action. And we're going to say widgets init. And then our function name, which is init widgets. And now if we reload, you should be able to see the widgets link right here in appearance. Alright, and then what we'll do is take the text widget, move that over. Okay, let's just grab some text. Save. And there we go. So now you can see it animates in. Now that H3 isn't parsing correctly. Before title H3. Let's take a look at that. Okay, so that H3 isn't registering. Oh, I have the quote, the double quote outside. That's supposed to be like that. There we go. Okay. So we're pretty much there as far as blog posts go, aside from being able to have different formats, which we'll get to later. But in the next video, what we're going to do is start to work on the pages. Because you can see if I go to a regular page, this is what it looks like. So that's what we'll do in the next video.